Welcome again to Studio 14's Overton County Magazine. I'm your host, Jerry Stovall. Overton County Magazine is a show designed to bring our viewers a look at some of the interesting as well as informative people and events occurring in and around Overton County. Some of our stories are videotaped on location, while still others will be brought to you straight from Studio 14. So why don't we all sit back, relax, and thumb through this week's magazine. Okay, in this segment we're talking to a fellow that achieved something that very few of us do. He's made that 100th birthday. So this is, let's see, your name is Washington Lafayette Hunter. Okay, is there any reason you came up with that name?
Well, my great-grandmother named it after some of her grandchildren.
Oh, okay, so it's a combination of a couple of them.
Well, I'm a great Dorothy Governor John Sevier. I am a descendant of Governor John Sevier. My great-grandmother was his grandchild.
Well, that's the first governor of Tennessee, wasn't it? Yeah, that's something. Okay, you're 100 today.
No, it's the 11th.
Oh, okay, that's day after tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you look pretty fit. Is any reason you've become this age?
Well, nothing but hard work. Plenty of exercise.
Okay, you do exercise, though.
I've had a pretty hard times. I've gone through depressions when eatables were scarce.
Mm-hmm.
Some very funny things happened then, too, but then I'll live through it.
That's good. Okay, now you best understand you've been a teacher and a preacher, right?
Yes, I taught school for 15 years. And while I was in school at Brake College, I began going out with the boys, going out to churches, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I became very much interested. And the president of the college, he said to take out my will enough to pay him for his work in the gospel. So I paid my college work one time by preaching.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, what was your normal pay for, say, teaching?
Oh, I can tell you kind of how it was. The first teaching I ever taught was a 3-month school. And I got $25 a month. I paid $8 of that for board. That's how I started out.
You didn't put much in the bank at that time, did you?
No, but I bought me a mule.
Well, that's good. Okay, this was back, what, about, say, 1910 or 11 through there?
The which?
When you started teaching.
Teaching?
Yeah.
No, I started in 1906.
Oh, did you? Okay. When did you get out of college?
I got out in 1913.
Oh, okay. Well,
I entered in 1910. But I had to leave out some of the sessions on account of the shortage of money. I had to drop out and make a little money to go on.
Okay. All right. Now, is there anything that's happened in your lifetime that was funny or unusual?
Well, a whole lot of things funny. I guess it'll be in the paper about the first school that I ever went to. I remember very well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I didn't know anything about how to behave in school. And there's a quail sitting out on the fence right by the window where I was.
Mm-hmm.
He had to hold him by the heart with all his might. And when he threw away, I had to hold until the whole school went. I said, there you go, Rick. And it was there at that school, not at that session, but at the schoolhouse. I saw my first corpse. One of the schoolworkers had died. And they had the casket open at the schoolhouse. The cemetery was thereby. And let us all view her remains. That was my first dead person that I ever saw.
You still remember it well, can't you? Yeah, that's something that's vivid. I understand that you made a raft ride down the Obi River one time.
I kind of wanted to forget that. Yes, we didn't name run the raft, but there's a wild tide, and we thought we'd drop it down to an eddy, you know, and for fear danger might take it. And when we got down there, our landing was full. We couldn't get in there. And we hit right on the head of a bar, caught the bow of the raft. The current caught the stern, whipped it around and tore down the bow hole. Well, we didn't have anything to guide it with. The next thing was a creek came down and a big bluff right by it. And our raft just bowed against that bluff and tore up. And, you know, back then they had caps on the shoes.
Oh, it did?
And that cap on the shoe was loose. And there's a raft across the creek there where we hit the bluff. And we all jumped off on the other raft to get out of danger. I hung that cap on a whaling over the raft I was on. I dropped him between the two. And that I jumped off of it, slammed up against me, and caught me against the raft I was trying to get onto, and rolled me on the log just like rolling a lead pencil in your hand.
Oh, heck.
Well, someone pulled me out when the log landed on our raft and left a veil hole there. And I don't know how many men were standing around us. There was a great big crowd. They wanted to know how bad I was hurt. I said, well, I'm not hurt at all. And they talked to me there a few minutes, and I got ready to go. I couldn't move one foot after the other. And they said, don't you want to get a horse? And I told them I needed it now. I first told them I didn't need it. That was before I tried to walk. Well, they got me a horse, and I had to ride a few miles till I come to the bank of the river. On the far side of the bank is my home. Well, I laid them down on the bank of the river, and they got a canoe and went across. I went on home, got a horse, and come to the other side, you know. Set me across in the canoe, and I went in home. As I came walking in, two of them were leading me. My father came out and he saw me. He says, now the next time you want to go down the right, just I'll just pay you and you stay at home. And you know, long in the summer the tides are low. He had a big raft to run, and he had to run it through that summer. And he got on it and I did too. And we sure gotten into. I've had a whole lot of bad things to happen. Some mighty pleasant things.
I understand you went to Arizona and homestead some land one time.
Yeah. Yes, I was engaged to be married, and I told my girls I want to go out there and get some of that land first. Well, I went out there, and I saw the agent the evening that I got to the office, the day I got there. And he said, it's all taken up. I know it's a useless trip. But as luck had it, I found a man there that's right immediately from my county.
Oh, you did?
Straight on Lightbit.
Well.
And the next day I started back to Oklahoma. Now I had a host of friends out there, and what's the name of that town down there below Tulsa?
Below Tulsa? Let's see, Fort Smith?
No.
No, that's down in...
Well, it's where all the Tennesseans have gone.
No. No, I'm not sure.
Well, I went down there, and I met up with my old farmer that I well knew. He lived at Willow Grove before he went out there. And I stayed with him, and I didn't work with him, but then I just stayed down and helped the boys around on the farm, put into the stuff. Mm-hmm. And one day we went up into another county to a kind of a celebration of some kind. Mm-hmm. And I guess I was looking blue. And we came on back, he says, Hunter, he says, I don't need you, but says, I'm going to give you work to do in here. If you're going to leave here and give this country a bad name. And I stayed a while long, and a man whose wife got sick came to me and wanted me to go and take part in his cotton crop off his hand. There's 8 acres, 8 acres of cotton now. He says, I'll give you all it makes and you pay the rent on it if you'll work with Mr. Crop. Mm-hmm. Well, I went back to the man that I'd been staying with. I told him what kind of a job he offered me. Now, I said, what do you think about that? Is it a good trade or not? He says, that's a good trade. Well, I said, Mr. Johnson, you cared for me when you didn't need me. And if you still need me, I'll work for you. He says, I'll take you in, said my hand quit me today. And I stayed with him till I got ready to get on and move toward home. And I came to about, I don't know, a little piece further east. I stayed with an uncle of mine. Mm-hmm. He wasn't no count. I don't tell his name though, but then he's put that name. And he treated me good. Mm-hmm. His first wife had died. She was the sister of my father. Then he married a quarter Indian. Mm-hmm. He had 2 Indian children. And his girl, by his first wife, was up north in Indian Territory with her aunt, who was a teacher to the Indians, mm-hmm. that the government was educating.
Yeah.
And she was with her because she was her aunt. I never had seen her. I saw her that time, and that's the last time I ever saw her. Mm-hmm. And I stayed up there after dinner. And the Indian girls came out and sat to dinner, nice as it could be, waited on the table. And when I left out there, I had a letter from my niece, no, from my cousin. She says, you've got an Indian sweetheart out here. I never did say anything about it. But I've often wished that I had written her just to see how they would write. But I didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
Well, we soon went on back home, and I left up there soon after that. And I brought up. Now, this man had married my cousin, one of my cousins after his Indian woman died, and they had a little Indian girl. And they came back to Tennessee with me. Hmm. And just to visit their people. Mm-hmm. And when they got ready to go back, that little Indian girl, she wasn't higher than that, but she took up with me, you know. She came to see me before they got ready to start back. And she said, well, you're going back with us? I said, no. I said, this is my home here, and I can't go back with you. Mm-hmm. And she broke down and cried just like she'd die. Mm-hmm. I heard about her after that she married and separated from her man. But the last news I got she and her husband had been reunited and were doing well. So that's the last I heard of them.
Well, I say you've been to Arizona and Oklahoma, but there's still nothing like Tennessee, though, is there?
Not for me, because I felt the need of an education. I lived out there on my own.
Yeah.
And I came back, and I didn't see anything else to do on the good school. It looked like all prospects here was gone. But I didn't have any money. And my father had a little tract of land that he wanted to clear. Had some valuable timber in it. Now he says, if you'll help me log this off and we'll take it down to the mill here, says, I'll give you half the lumber. And you have the money to go to school. And I worked, and I was about 2 weeks later getting in school. Had to do that logging, wouldn't get the money.
Yeah.
And when I got to school, I don't guess everyone was a boy more homesick than I was. I looked over the curriculum. There's so many things that I had never heard of. I had said, oh, Lord, what a bad course I've got. And I was brooded over that. Some of them would ask me, Hunter, you coming back next fall, or next term? I said, no. They said, why? Why? I said, I'd rather make my living in the Grub Chester Sprouts to come up here and be homesick like that.
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll wind this down now, but we want to ask you, do you have any advice for any of the younger people?
Well, if I tell them my experience, that some of them need to take it. I don't know who they will. I'd say to young people that I have a noble purpose in mind and work to that end.
Yeah.
And try to make that purpose something that you can carry through life to help you make your living. Now, when I went to college, a hard road to travel through, but it mattered good to me, helped me through it. But I must say that the college work there was the main push that sent me on my way.
Yeah. And it was hard back then, I'd say, to go to college.
But they were good to me. They got to give me my tuition for leading song service at chapel in the morning and also at church. Mm-hmm. And when the old president that died found out that I wanted to preach, he says in my will, it says if any boy wants to preach, they pay their tuition through college, through the expenses in the college.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to pay that bill on time. And then along to the last, old Professor Graves was the principal then. He knew my condition. I says, Hunter, says if you want to come out of school till you graduate, says you make us a note at the end of each session till you graduate. Mm-hmm. When you get out in the world making money, you pay us as you can.
Well, that's pretty good. That was good.
Well, I've had that man to visit me after I graduated, married and had a family. He visited me when he's out drumming for students, Mm-hmm. Stay all night with me. I'd ride around with him, but when he's drumming for more students. And I always loved that man.
One thing we did want to find out is how many kids did you have? How many grandkids you have?
Well, I was counting.
Oh, you never...
I have 4 children, and the older one passed away about 3 or 4 years ago. And the others are here today, I reckon. Mm-hmm. I've seen part of them, I've not seen the rest of them. But I had 3 boys and 1 girl. Mm. The girl was the last one. Mm-hmm. She was born, I believe it was July 29th, somewhere along there. I didn't mention that, but then it was in July. I think that's when she was born. And she's here today.
Hmm.
And my half-sister, the youngest one of a family of 13, is still living, and I'm the third one in the first family.
Oh, okay.
And as my older brother got killed in a car wreck, and another one got killed in a car wreck also. Well, it didn't kill him right then, but he died in a few days. He was on his way to the alumni meeting in Spencer, and they had a wreck and killed him and his wife. I killed her right out, and he died in a few days after that.
Well, we're gonna let you get back to your company here, and we want to thank you for talking with us.
Well,
And-
correct my mistakes that you right, friend.
Well, I tell you what, you're awful sharp. You seem to know all the details about anything.
Well, I have my memory of the things that happened when I was a child.
Yeah. Well, they're awful good. They got all the details with them.
And I don't suffer any pain, severe pain now. And I eat enough, sleep well. But I'm just somehow from here down, I can't move and get around good.
Yeah.
And I enjoy company
Well,
and talking. I'm going to tell you one thing that happened, if you've got time, boy.
yeah.
There's a man came to my house several months ago, and he says that I'm 80 now, but says when I was just 30, says you tried to teach me the gospel, and says I learned the gospel, and you what to do, and you wanted me to become a member, and I wouldn't do it. But he says I'm 80 now, and I have obeyed, and I just bow to come and tell you. That's I remember what you said. I thought about casting your bread from the water and get it up many days hence.
Took 50 years for it to come back around. Huh? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we'd like to come back and see you on your 101st. Yeah, I believe.
If I'm alive and be glad to see you.
I'll tell you what, you can out-talk me any day. I would like to thank everyone for watching tonight. We hope that you have enjoyed our magazine, and be sure and tune us in next time. We would also like to invite you to send us your comments and ideas for future shows. This is Jerry Stovall saying thank you and good night.